Hey guys, this is another game that I'm talking about after the fact just because, I thought it was a fun game, a cool ending, so I figured I'd do it. And I figured I'd talk a little bit about this season. I always like to come to Whiffy Wharf. You've probably seen me do this with Mama Bear. I always look on the right here to see if there's a sword up there by the tower. The reason I like landing Whiffy Wharf is the swords. There's swords just across the bay, and there's swords here. And then there's also 2 of those blue chest spawns right in the wharf. And I always try to get the water boon. That thing is beyond good. Like, it's the one thing. If I have a sword, impulse, and water boon, I feel like I can win any match. The demon medallion, obviously the one that turns you invisible with infinite sprint, is obviously very good as well, but I feel like I can overcome that. But without a sword and without the water boon and without impulses, I feel naked this season. Another kind of good thing, but some people would disagree, some people might not, but there's always like 2 to 3 bots that land at Whiffy Wharf, so it's a nice, easy, quick 2 to 3 kills just to get your game started. And very rarely do real people land here. The only time it seems to is when it's like the last stop, like when the bus goes right over. But, So yeah, my plan is always, I know Mama Bear, there's a full slurp truck over there kind of by the other swords, but she always hits that up. Here's the other blue chest. I figure there's enough shield in here, and there's rarely real people, that I always leave full shield without going over there, so I'm not too worried about it. As a squad, it would be nice to hit up that over there. Everybody gets full shield. You don't have to split anything. But after Whiffy Wharf, I usually go to the left here, unless the ring is a little funky. But I usually go to the left because there's plenty of the shrines that you can put the squishies in to get more boons. And there's also 2 more blue chest spawns. So if you don't leave this area with a water boon, you're pretty unlucky. And actually, this time I think it takes me a lot longer to get my water boon. So yeah, the other one's up here. I never saw this Mr. John guy. He shoots at me like 2 or 3 times. I think it's a bot. I kind of looked later on and just looked where he went, and the way he was acting was very bot-like. And so because he was bot-like, I figured, there's the other spawn. I figured for sure that he would just kind of be standing in the open, and I didn't think he was as far as he was, because sometimes they do shoot at you farther away, but I don't know. I never did find him, but I'm not too worried about that. I usually don't pick up SMGs, but I've been kind of working on the masteries. So whenever I think there's a bot around, I try to use the SMG at the moment just to try to get that one too. But like I said, I never found him. Obviously, I don't have that info right there. And the fact that he has no shield at this point and there's a slurp truck right there, like, that's a bot. I didn't even think about that till right now. And he didn't pick up the sword. Yeah, my ideal loadout is the AR that I just picked up. I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called right now, but that AR, the one with the scope, the twin fire shotgun, sword, and then impulses and chug splashes. That's my ideal loadout, with obviously a water boon. So my strategy is just work on getting the water boon, and then really just stay alive. You guys know me. I'm not too worried about getting tons of kills or anything. I'm all about the victory royale. So yeah, stopping here, trying to get more boons. This game ends up for me being just as much about escapability as it is about kills. You'll see one guy. I think I start seeing him right here, actually. No, it's in a moment. And that's the other reason I'm going back and forth. The other reason I like the shrines is they frequently give you impulse grenades. They're the most common place to find impulse grenades. This guy right here, Hubby. Hubby, in this match, he doesn't actively chase me a lot, but we just happen to come across each other a lot. And here's the first time he hits me. He hits me for right around 1,050 damage. And here he is, 1,050 in this entire match. I'm not sure I've ever been hit for that much by the same person. It was absolutely ridiculous. So he does end up chasing me here, but I get out of sight, and he goes to the back. You'll kind of see his name in the background here, I think, in a second here. But he ends up going to the right of the screen right now. And while I'm healing, he doesn't end up seeing me. Obviously, if he did, I might have been able to get away with some impulses. I still had a couple. Yeah, there he is. But being this week, not ideal. Yeah, I know a lot of people are hating on the sword this season. I'm torn on it. The sword, for me, it's not as bad as some other objects in past seasons. But the thing is, like I said at the beginning, I feel like I do need a sword to win your average game. I mean, obviously you can always third-party people and kind of get lucky here and there, depending on how the end game works out. But without a sword, I feel like I can't. If I don't have a sword in the end of the game, I feel like I can't win. And so I don't like items like that. Again, this one isn't as bad as some other ones we've seen, but whenever there's that feeling, I feel like that means it's improperly balanced. So the sword, for me, I like having it, but it's too strong in my opinion. You can run too fast for too long with it, and I'm a guy who likes escapability. I thrive on getting away from people and living to see another fight, which ends up screwing Mama Bear over in our duos matches a lot because I'm very good at getting away alive and leaving her not getting away and not alive. But anyways, yeah, I spend a lot of this match healing up, and I tend to be good at that kind of thing, getting away from people, getting out of sight. I had a match yesterday where I did have the invisibility and the infinite sprint, and this guy was just chasing me in the end game. There was 3 of us, and I just kept escaping, kept running, kept escaping, and eventually I brought him to the other person. I found the other person, and I ran right by him and let them fight, and then came in and destroyed both of them during their fight. Third partying, everybody knows, is the easiest way to go. I think I come across Mr. Hubby up here again. Huddy? I think it's Huddy. I think they're D's. Oh yeah, I go through this house again, because there's another blue chest spawn in this house. That's the other one I was talking about. So there's 4 very close to each other, and fairly consistent. I was talking to Mama Bear in her stream the other day. I feel like there are certain spots of chest spawns and then blue chest spawns that I feel like not all spots are created equal in terms of their spawn rates. There's one spot in Whiffy Wharf that is extremely frequently a rare chest. Not one of these blue chests that I just opened, but one of the rare chests. I feel like it's an obscene amount of time that it ends up being one of those. Oh yeah, there's Huddy. Me dropping those, I didn't notice that the shrine had already been used, and I end up having to run away and not. I don't end up picking those back up, I don't think, but I do end up attacking him a little bit because it didn't feel like a guy that was very good, but at this point I could tell, he's a decent player actually. So at this point I'm like, let's just get back to the car and let's get away. Cars and getting away, as long as you can keep them healthy, are your best friends, because anybody has a sword will keep up with you. Anybody who has impulses will keep up with you. But the car is near infinite. Obviously, it can blow up and run out of gas, but that distance I put between me and him right there, even though he did blow up the car, was the difference. I did follow him on the replay as well. And, oh yeah, I have the wind boon, so that's why I was taking out the pickaxes to run a little faster. He does kind of look for me, but he loses track and he heads off to the left a little bit more than I do. I thought when I got here that this was a bot fight, but it was not. And I ended up looking at the end of the game. There were 3 players in this match that had more than 10 kills. And that Silver Wolf that you just saw was one of them. So he was a good player as well. I mean, I know 10 kills doesn't necessarily make you cracked or anything, but bad players aren't getting 10 kills. Even against bots, like, they just don't travel well and all that kind of stuff. So if you get 10 kills, you're at least a pretty good player. And I've told you guys before that I'm good strategically. I'm not good gunfight wise. Like, I need an advantage to win a gunfight against a good player. I'm never going to win one against a good player, straight up. Or not never, but not as frequently. I mean, you can see my shots right here. I was like, screw it, I'm just taking out my sword. I also, multiple times in this match, I didn't notice at the time, there's my water boon, by the way. Multiple times in this match, I pass pretty good rarity twin fire shotguns, and I have a Oni, which is my least favorite of the shotguns, and I just, for some reason, never pick one up in this game. I don't know why. It's not like me. But I do like to hang around these islands for 2 or 3 main reasons, depending on how you look at it. One, it's great to be able to travel far quickly. And this is the easiest way to do that. You can get good positioning in later rings. 2, I mean, it is nice having the invisibility and an infinite sprint. But at the very least, I don't want somebody else to get it. So if I can tie them up enough while I'm on these islands and we're on these islands and they can't get that, that's good enough for me. So I like to hang around here and make sure if somebody kills them that I'm getting that medallion. I don't even care about the sword that much, as long as I already have one. I just don't want somebody else to get that medallion. So that's what I'm doing here. And this is another point where Huddy does some significant damage to me. He definitely wanted that medallion. And then there was somebody else here. I forget his name. He hits me hard. There he is. Tired inside. Yeah, Huddy hits him pretty hard too. I think Huddy's the one that ends up killing him. But yeah, I just gotta... And at this point, his health, I don't think ever dipped below half. So I just had to make my presence known. So yeah, you just kind of fly around and make sure somebody else doesn't get him. That's all you gotta do here. The one thing I don't like about these islands, the way you fly is a lot slower than in the past. And while I don't like it, I also acknowledge that it's probably good for the game. It was near impossible to hit some of the players that were flying quickly without their glider out when they're just, flying through the air. It was very near impossible to hit some of them sometimes. And so the slowing down of this definitely kind of makes it more balanced, I think. Oh yeah, and right there I just forgot to... I was recording the replay, so I had to press a button to make sure that didn't happen, and I had forgotten to. But you didn't miss any of the action, really. The other person you see flying in the air here, they don't have a name because it's one of these guys, I think it was Tired, had a hired AI. So yeah, at this point, I knew there was a keg above me. So I was like, I think they're too distracted by each other. Let's just throw down the keg. Worst case, I jump away. get my shield back to 100. And then I knew there was a med kit up there too. My med kit gets interrupted, unfortunately. But remember, I have the water boon, so I just have to get to water for my health. So I wasn't overly worried at this point. Just pick up your things again. And the one thing I knew I had to do when he came tired, and obviously I didn't know he was weak, but I just knew I had to pick up my gun again. I was like, it's going to be tough for them to finish me off. Yeah, Huddy did kill Tired. I can't lose that gun. I don't even remember if I end up really ever using it, but you got to have one, you know. And so at this point, the ring's starting to come in, and like I said, you just got to put pressure. Just make people know that you're there, so that they can't get that medallion. Let's see. Oh yeah, and there a second ago, that other name that had 10 kills popped up. Huddy had 10 kills. Well, 2 of them had 11. I don't remember who was who, but Huddy, Silver Fox, and Jose the Boxer were the 3 guys that had 10 kills. I ended up killing 2 of them. And again, this Huddy does more than 1,000 damage. It's hard to tell the exact number because there are times when he does, and you'll see this later, there are times he does damage to me while I'm in water with the boon. So sometimes it's hard to tell exactly how much they did, but, you know, it'll be within 5 to 10 HP that he did. And so, yeah, at this point, I'm just worried about positioning and staying away from people. I knew there's water down there, so that's where I was going. I was like, gotta get to the water to get my health back to 100. I kept seeing the name while I was recording this, the You Suck at This, that one that you just saw a second ago, and I was like, he's gotta have a ton. I think he only had 6. So I must have just looked every single time that he got a kill. I had just used that when I saw this. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have used the Chug Splash, but oh well. And my thought here, I pick up him to do this shrine. I usually don't do this late game, but I knew I had time to go back and get my other Chug Splashes. And the shrines do give you Chug Splashes here and there. So I was like, maybe I can get a few more Chugs out of this. It was worth it to me. So that's what I was doing here, and I figured I wasn't really that close to anybody. This Wolfman ends up dying in the storm, and the way he dies in the storm makes me think he's a bot. I never looked at him on the replay, but, I mean, he's a bot. So even though I was close to a player, it wasn't a player. So at this point, just get back to the circle. You're healthy. You're looking good. Just get back to the circle. And when I saw, I didn't realize, I looked down to see this crevice and was like, oh, that's going to be a little harder to navigate than I thought, and I remembered that I saw this air guy here. A lot of times I don't like flying this late in the game just because it draws attention to yourself, but I thought the distance needed to cover combined with, I hadn't seen anybody in this area. I was like, I think I'm safe. And I think at the time I was right. I mean, I ended up getting shot at. But I don't think it was because I flew. Hey, look who it is. It's Huddy. I didn't know it was him, obviously, so I was hoping I could get a couple shots on him as he charged, because I knew he would. And then I saw him jump, and I was like, okay, time to go. And then he started hitting me, and you got to use the impulses. This is why impulses are so good. A lot of people don't carry impulses. And so if they're only carrying the sword, they'll have a hard time catching up to you. I thought after a second, I hide behind the tree for a second and he doesn't come down. I thought he stopped chasing me. So I was going over to see if I could find a shield pot in the house that's right there. And then I see him come and I was like, crap. So this is the part that I was telling you about, that I was standing in water when he hits me a few times. So it's hard to tell exactly the amount of damage he does. But it's 100% over 1,000. I think it was like 1041, give or take a couple. If he would have shot at me here, I would have been dead. I think he was more concerned about getting out of the storm as it's moving in. And so, yeah, there's Wolfman dying to the storm. So I kind of got lucky there for sure. And I was like, oh, might as well pick up a better sword. Mine's been used. And then again, I know there's water by these rocks. Always know where the water is. Knowing where water is huge when you have that water boon. I think Huddy recognizes me multiple times in this and is like, there's no way he's full health. And I think that contributes to his demise in the end. I thought maybe there was something up there I could use to heal up, but the storm started coming in. I think he ultimately dies because he attacks me thinking I'm lower than I am. I honestly think that's what happens. Figure might as well as I'm passing this. So here's where the fun starts. 3 people, me and 2 guys that have more than 10 kills. I know that the storm was coming to my back, but I was like, I really hope they attack, and they did, so it gave me a chance. And at this point, I'm hoping one kills the other, and I can come in and finish the last, but obviously that's not how it works out. And I did not see him come up that. So when I jumped in here, I thought I was going to be driving. And then I jumped, and I thought I had the thing, and I got so lucky that I did not die to fall damage here. And I'm also very lucky they were distracted by each other. And again, Huddy is thinking that I'm going to be low at this point. He's hit me so many times. And this is why the water boon is so good. I am passively healing right now. Passively healing while these two are paying attention to each other. And then the chug splashes, real quick little boom, boom, and I'm 100. Full health. The water boon's where it's at, man. I don't know what to tell you. Most of you probably know this, but so good. Right around here is when, yeah, okay, so I didn't record this, and so on my Xbox I just hit, the record last minute. But this is where I think Huddy attacks me thinking there's no way. Because I didn't know this, but he was right around 50-50 on health and shield. He would not have attacked me like that. He would have attacked me with the stronger blow that sends you backwards. I think he thought I was low. And at this point, I'm like, I know there's water down there, but he's down there, so I can't afford it. So I'm like, let's get up here. This is the first time I've used that attack. And I was like, this is the perfect situation for it, so why not? I just always forget about it. And then, this. Loved it. Perfect. Mwah. Ah, so good. I don't have a lot of wins like that, a lot of moments like that. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me.